All right, how about this? I don't know if you could read the list of names here, the list of teams. This is from StatMuse. Lamar Jackson has more touchdowns this season than Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, Dolphins, Browns, Commanders, Jaguars, Falcons, Cardinals, Rams, Chargers, and yes, on the list is the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a man who has already 12 touchdown passes. He's run for the fourth most yardage of all NFL running backs, even though he's a quarterback. I think so far it's only 3 games, Chris, but he's bet on himself, and he's going to bet big and come up big. He wanted more money. He's going to get more money.
You ever see the movie Rounders, Bob? Poker movie, Matt Damon?
Matt Damon, one of my favorites.
Pay that man his money. I mean, what else does he need to prove to people? He's like #1 in big-time throw percentage. He's doing more damage from the pocket. People have always ripped him for that. I guess the cop-out now is going to be wait till he does it in the postseason. Fine, say that. I don't want to keep betting against Lamar Jackson eventually getting it done in the postseason because he probably will. I mean, he just absolutely turned on the Jets and single-handedly carried them past a stubborn Patriots team. That guy he's unbelievably good is what he is, and he's an unbelievably unique talent who is a rare joy to watch, I think, or was a rare joy, excuse me, in a weekend that was filled with crappy games.
Yeah. One other quarterback, Mac Jones, in that game suffered some sort of high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for several weeks, although he was intercepted 3 times. Doesn't look good for the Patriots right now. Let's go to get some calls before I ask you some Pirate stuff about their newest acquisition. We'll begin with Al in Carnegie. Al, you're up.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
What's
up?
Hi,
Chris.
Hey.
Hey, I got a question for you, Bob and Chris. Don't you think the Steelers should start Kenny Pickett? Because if they start Tavesky and they lose, they're going to be 1-3. That's going to be hard getting back into the race.
Well, I mean, to me, there were 2 natural areas of the schedule that would allow for that if Mike Tomlin wanted to do that. I don't suspect he will, based on his answer last week. We'll find out tomorrow at his press conference, which, by the way, you can see here on Pittsburgh CW. But this would have been one of those times, a mini bye week, and then the other one, of course, would be later. I certainly, if I'm going to do it, I'll do it this week, not Buffalo. And if that's not the case, I'd wait till New Orleans after the bye. But I think they're going to give this more time, and that's just the way it sounds to me, Chris.
I ultimately think they're going to give it more time. I think if you believe that the kid is your future and you believe in him, then you play him whenever you want. You don't, I'm tempted to say you don't play him against like Tampa's D because that looks like a great defense. Buffalo, even though they're banged up, can really get after it defensively, especially with the pass rush. But if you do believe in the kid, you put him out there. As for what they'll do, though, like forget about what I would do, because I would be playing him pretty much right now, or I'd play him after this Jets game. I think they're going to at least wait until 8 games in, Bob, where they might very well be 1-7. I hope people that are listening and watching right now understand that it's that grim for the Steelers. If they lose this game, they will likely go into that 8th or that 9th game of the year at best 2-6. That is how brutal that schedule looks ahead of them.
Yeah, but if they do win this game, I could see them, given the way, Tampa's banged up, although Evans is going to be back now after a suspension, they could sneak a split out of the next 2, and they probably are just hoping to keep their head above water and be in the picture come the bye week. But that is not good enough for me if you're going to just continue to try to win these games by scoring 14 to 17 points, because I don't think you can win in the NFL that way as the season progresses. Back to the lines we go. We have Andrew in Moon. Hello, Andrew. How you doing?
Hello, gentlemen. I had a couple of comments to make, and I watched the Steelers all through preseason, and all 3 quarterbacks did pretty well. When they were talking about marketing Mason Rudolph, I was thinking, and I was probably the only one in the camp, of finding a home for Trubisky and then moving Pickett and have Mason as the backup, or vice versa. But the other statement I wanted to make is these 3 games that we played, the Steelers' offense has been anemic. Is the best
and it's not just a pass game either; it's the run game. I'm disappointed in the numbers I see from Najee Harris. I thought that they were going to be better. I think the offensive line, by all accounts, Chris, has been better than people thought it would be. So you can't look at it as the reason why these numbers are down. So what is the reason? Why can't this run game be better? Quite frankly, if you just closed your eyes and you weren't aware who was the #1 pick and who was undrafted, you may come to the conclusion that Jaylen Warren is better, at least this year.
He looks better right now. Harris had his best game in that loss to the Browns, but Warren still, in the limited touches he got, looked like the much more explosive, forceful back The first 2 games of the season, I thought Harris looked injured and terrible by and large. So that's part of the explanation for why the running game hasn't gotten going, even with some pretty decent blocking. I think we all know why the pass game's not getting going. Sometimes it's Matt Canada's scheme not getting guys open enough. Other times when they are open, Mitch Trubisky doesn't see them. Sometimes the scheme works, he sees the guy, and he still doesn't hit him. It's really 2 guys more than anything else. It's Mike Tomlin's overarching philosophy, but then the next 2, it's the coordinator's not good enough, and neither is the quarterback. And I think we've seen that bear out through 3 games.
All right, 412-575-2600. We have in Beaver Falls now. Jeff joins us on the phone. What's up, Jeff? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good evening, guys. I actually can accept the Steelers ending up in the bottom of the ranks as far as wins this year if they can get a decent draft choice and improve the team a lot better, because in the past they've picked always from the middle of the pack, and some of the better players are not available to them at that time.
Yeah, I mean, they could use all the help they can get. The higher up you are, the more likely you're going to get a player who can come in immediately and play. But, that's not part of what they're doing right now. They're trying to be competitive. As I cited in our sportscast, you never know how things are going to work out. Even though last year, Chris, it was the same 1-2 start, they somehow go 8-5-1. I remember people in Denver, because Joe Kopp was still around at the radio, and he was just talking about the Denver Broncos being world beaters, and they were 3-0, and then they end up, I think, 4 and whatever they were. So, and they fire a coach. You never know how it's going to go. The Steelers want to be in it. That could be a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Well, they always want to be in it, but that is a recipe in a salary cap sport to eventually have some hard times where you don't hit on your picks consistently. And that seems to be a little bit of a version of what they're going through right now. I think you can really talk about resource allocation in the draft. Did they need to draft Najee Harris where they drafted him? Could Creed Humphrey have been better served being on this roster at center? As to the point about like somebody could stomach the idea that they would be bad because it might get them a top 5 pick, they need one. Let's be real. They need one. They need a guy that comes in and plays left tackle and is just a franchise player at that position, Bob. They need guys to shore up that offensive line and very quick. And to be honest, they need guys that help them get younger on defense as well. I mean, They have holes on this roster. This roster is very thin on the more expensive side of the ball and very lacking in talent at key positions on the offensive side.
Real quick before I go to break, I want to ask you, then we'll get more calls, about this Miguel Andujar. I remember him, taking the Yankees by storm in his rookie year. He had almost 30 home runs, runner-up to Ohtani for the Rookie of the Year. He's had all sorts of problems, some injury-related, whatever. He's not been the same drop-off, has been severe. The Pirates, like they do with a lot of guys, pick him out the scrap heap. Do you think this could be a good move, ultimately?
I mean, in the sense that it's virtually no risk and potential reward, yes. But, I mean, don't you, like probably many of the people watching this program right now, get sort of tired of saying maybe this trash will become their treasure? They did it so much with Neil Huntington, and that was nice. But when you're umpteen million games under 500 and you're trying to pick up guys like that, I don't think it has the same – you don't get the same benefit of the doubt from the fan base, nor should you.
No, and that's why they need to spend some money in this offseason. Plus, let some of these kids that we've seen, just a sample of, that doesn't guarantee anything, but at least guys like Ortiz and Oviedo seem to have talent, and let them ride and see what happens. We got to take a break. Come back with more of your calls. It's 412-575-2600 right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.